Okay, so I'm going to rename my layer tree leaves, and I'm going to collapse that panel, and I'm going to add a new one. This new layer I am going to call cloud, and I'm going to make it very similar to how I made this with the lasso tool. And I'm just going to kind of scribble some swirlies and have a cloud there. Only this time I'm going to use the gradient tool. And the gradient tool allows me to make a linear, a radial, an angle, a reflective, or a diamond. I think that I'm going to choose a radial, and then I'm going to click here, and I'm actually going to choose my colors. So this gradient editor, it does have some pre-made ones here, which, oh look, I didn't even notice that before. There is one that is called Cloud. I'm not sure. There, look at that. So it has pretty much a white and then a very light bluish gray. If you wanted to edit your colors, you would simply double click on that color picker, and maybe I would make it just a little bit more than what it was. Double click, and that's really close to being white, but it does have a tiny bit of gray in it, so I'll leave that there. These buttons up here are for opacity, so if you wanted it to be a little more see-through, you could do that as well. So I'm going to make this one, the top one, I'm going to change the opacity to, I'm going to say 75%, because I don't want to make it real light, just a little bit on the edge. And I'm going to click OK. Now, because this is a radial, if I click in the center and drag out, notice that what was on the left is in the middle. If I drag from the side to the center, whoops, or maybe across, let me see. Kind of depends on what it is. I guess I'm gonna leave it like that. I kind of like that one, but it's gonna give it just a little bit of opacity there in the center. And then I'm going to deselect, and I'm gonna name this cloud. And then I can move it a little bit as needed. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to unlock this background layer. And on this background layer, I am going to choose a sky color. So I'm going to start. Notice that when I move my mouse outside of this color picker, you see how I get the little eyedropper? This eyedropper is also a selection tool. It's selecting a color. So if I wanted to start with this color, but maybe make it, I don't know, a little less, or I could move it here on the spectrum, make it a little bit a different shade, but it gives me a starting point, or I can choose, or I can leave it and do the exact same color. In this instance, I just want a starting point. And I'm going to click OK. And I'm going to use my paint bucket to fill the background. Now, the reason that I just filled the background is because it's on the background layer and everything else is on top of it. So even though I wanted it to just be the sky, that's all that's going to be seen because the grass is covering it, the tree is covering it, etc. Now, I would like to experiment real quick with moving the tree trunk to where it starts behind the grass. And I'm not sure if I like it in front of, or I think I like it behind the grass. which then means that I probably want to move it up just a little bit. And notice I have two layers that are not contiguous, meaning they're not next to each other. I click on one and then I hold the control key on my keyboard and I click on the other to select those. And then I can move them both at the same time, just moving it up a little bit since the grass was blocking a little bit of the tree. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this is saved properly. It is period, number, and underscore, and your last name, underscore, and then the name of the assignment, which is going to be selections, house. House. Remember, you first save it as a Photoshop file so that you can come in and edit it. And then you are also going to save it when you're completely done, changing the type to a JPEG. And that's the one that you upload to Canvas. And I would make sure that it stays up here at large file so it keeps its quality.